Well, Microsoft has finally gone and done it. This is the Surface laptop, and as you can see, it is just a laptop. Unlike other Surface products, it doesn't do anything funny when you try to put the screen back. Now, this is definitely a break in tradition for Microsoft with the Surface line, and it puts the company directly in competition with HP, Dell, even Apple with its MacBook Pro 13. Now, can Microsoft handle those competitors? Let's find out. Now, while this is a conventional laptop, Microsoft hasn't stopped itself from doing a few things that are unusual, one of which is this Alcantara surface on the interior of the laptop. It feels great. It is a form of fabric, although it's pretty resistant to stains or scuffs or anything like that. We don't think you're going to have any big problems in that regard. It feels great. It's warm, it's inviting, it's a really nice touch that adds a premium and unique feel to the laptop. Now, another great thing here in the interior is the keyboard. Keyboard's awesome. You can go for long periods typing on it, good key travel, very comfortable. Definitely an improvement over some other smaller laptops. Now overall, the laptop is very light, and even when it's closed and you're dealing with the simple metal exterior, it feels very premium. Although this does end up being a little bulkier than you might expect given its 13-inch class display. It's a 13.5-inch display, so that's actually bigger than, say, a 13.3-inch by a little bit. And the general design is a bit blunt, a bit hard edged, so it does end up feeling maybe larger than the actual dimensions are. Another issue with this laptop is the port situation. So we really just have one USB port and one display port and a headphone jack, and that's it, really. There is also the Surface connector, which technically can be connected to a Microsoft dock, but that's an extra charge. I believe the Microsoft dock is running around $200. Now, that definitely puts the connectivity of this laptop behind a lot of its peers. Now, our $1,300 review unit came with a Core i5 7200U processor, 8 GB of RAM, and a 256 GB hard drive. That Core i5 processor is really standard for this category machine, maybe even a little below average, but it did perform quite well in our test. It appears that Microsoft has done a good job with the thermals on this laptop, so in longer processor tests, like a video encoding situation, it does quite well. The downside in terms of performance is the hard drive, because it's only a SATA hard drive. It doesn't use one of the fancier PCI Express style connections, and that really hurts the performance overall. It actually is up to 2 or 3 times slower than something like a Dell XPS 13 or an HP Spectre X360 with a PCI Express hard drive. Now, Microsoft does redeem itself in battery life. This only has about a 47 watt-hour battery, which isn't that big, but the battery life is on par with most of its competitors like the Dell XPS 13. If you're just watching a 1080p video, you can expect about 12 hours of life. If you're doing some web browsing, you expect 8 or 9 hours of life. Now, it's not going to set any records, but considering the size and weight of this laptop, it's pretty good. The display on this laptop has 2256 by 1504 resolution. That works out to 201 pixels per inch. It's not the highest resolution out there, but it's also not the lowest. It's respectable. It provides a pretty sharp image. Doesn't quite compare to something like an Apple MacBook Pro 13, but it's close. Now, this is a touch screen, although the screen doesn't rotate far back. You can actually move it around with your finger, and that's nice. It's good to have that inclusion. Also, Surface Pin compatible, Surface Dial compatible, although I don't know what you would do with the dial. It would just fall off the screen, obviously. One really nice thing about the display is its color accuracy. We found in our test that it's really accurate compared to its competitors, and that means when you're viewing things on the screen, they look very vibrant, but also not unrealistic. You don't get fluorescent greens or reds jumping out at you. The content pretty much looks like it should, and that's really nice considering the price point this laptop is targeting. Now, perhaps the strangest thing about this laptop, and something you wouldn't know just looking at it at a glance, is the fact that it runs Windows 10 S. What is Windows 10 S? Well, it's a version of Windows 10 that is restricted to the Windows Store apps. So if you try to run anything that's not in the Windows Store, it's not going to let you do that. And that is, it's a problem. It is just a problem. There's no way of getting around that. If you go look at the Windows Store, maybe you're not familiar with it, you're going to see there's a lot of apps there that you probably want and that probably aren't there. For example, Google Chrome. Nope, can't run Google Chrome. You're pretty much going to have to rely on Microsoft Edge. If you want to run Steam games, that's not really going to be possible. There's just this wide variety of applications that will not run on this laptop out of the box. Now, you can upgrade the Windows 10 Pro. Doing so takes less than 10 minutes, and until the end of the year, it is free. After that, it's going to be $50. So it's not a huge problem if you're someone who knows what you're doing with Windows, you're very familiar with it, you don't mind hitting that upgrade button. But a lot of people are going to expect to have your regular Windows apps available right out of the box, and that's not the case here. And that's probably going to make some buyers a little wary of picking up this laptop. Now, overall, there's a lot to like about the Surface laptop. It's well engineered, it has this really nice interior finish, great keyboard, great screen. But there's also a few problems that do drag it down, like Windows 10 S, which is definitely an annoyance. Also, the hard drive is not the quickest, and the price at $1,300 is a little bit more than a lot of comparable systems. You can get a Dell XPS 13 with the 1080p display for less. You can get an Asus ZenBook UX330UA for a lot less. It's a $700 system and has a lot of the same internal components as this. And it's also pretty nice. Even keeps up with this on battery life. And that's really what it comes down to. This is a good laptop, but it's also an expensive laptop with some annoyances. So if you're just looking for a laptop and you're not really all that interested in getting involved in the whole Surface ecosystem, this probably isn't the one for you. With that said, if you are a big fan of Microsoft Surface products and you were just really hoping for a standard laptop to use every day, this is for you.